the wake of many high-profile mass shootings, members of Congress keep trying to find a way to deflect from calls for certain gun regulations. In fact, here's Marjorie Greene saying that, look, we don't need gun control. No. What America needs is sin control.
We don't have a gun problem in America. We have a sin problem. And no gun control law passed and signed into law and enforced will stop these things from happening because they're already illegal.
Oh, you hear that, everybody? Murder, already illegal. Shooting people, already illegal, unless it's a black person, or unless they throw a plastic bag at you. But otherwise, yeah, totally illegal. Murdering people, illegal. So I guess that what we need to do for Marjorie Greene is find every would-be school shooter and just be like, hey, did you know that's illegal? You don't do that. You better not do that. That's naughty. And of course, upon hearing that, they'll immediately go, oh, you know what? I'm sorry. You're right. Totally illegal. Not going to do it. It's just that easy. If you're stupid, if you're not a smart person, if you're, I don't know, a moron.
Peachtree dish.
Okay. All right. But look, those of us who live in the real world, we all know that Marjorie Greene is full of shit. Yes. Hey, Marge, we do have a gun problem. We have weapons that are easily accessible for anybody at any time. Guess what? We have guns on demand. They want to talk about abortion on demand. We have guns on demand. Maybe we could just, change the name of a mass shooting to a post-birth abortion. Guns are the instrument of performing post-birth abortions. There you go. Solved it. Solved the messaging problem. But no, guns on demand. If you want to get a gun, all you have to do is, again, go to a gun shop and just buy it. In a lot of places, you don't have a federal background check. You can go to a gun show. You can go to different places. You can buy it from a private seller that doesn't have to be federally licensed and doesn't have to give you a background check. In a lot of ways, a lot of places, it is easier for you to get a gun than it is to get health care. You have a limit on buying on how much Sudafed that you can buy, but not on how many guns you can buy. You can buy as many guns as you want. But you have to wait to buy medication. You have a waiting period for abortions. But you don't have a waiting period for a gun. In other countries, by the way, they don't have the gun problem. Not the way that we have. They have vastly fewer mass shootings than we do here. And again, you know why? Because they actually have gun laws. Yes, they have other laws which say that, killing people, murder is bad. Hey, did you know crime was a crime? Yes, I knew that. But some of these laws actually made it more difficult for people to get the instruments they use in these crimes. They banned, in many places, semi-automatic assault military-style weapons, right? High-capacity magazines. There's strict requirements on who can buy guns. And also, they have regulations on how they're supposed to be stored. They also have strict requirements and bans on handguns in some cases. Some states. You know what we don't have? None of that. We don't have any of that. So I remember when this country actually did have an assault weapons ban. From 1994 to 2004, you know what happened? Mass shootings decreased by 37%. After 2004, when the assault weapons ban expired, everybody went and bought those guns, and mass shootings rose by 183%. When it comes to large capacity magazines, the numbers are also quite relevant. In fact, this is according to Louis Claravas, a research professor at Teachers College at Columbia, saying when LCMs were involved, the average death toll for gun massacres increased by 62%. Jurisdictions that did not have LCM bans in place experienced a 129% increase in the incidence rate and a 206% increase in the fatality rate of gun massacres. Then we also have a 2020 study of state gun laws that found this. State laws requiring a permit to purchase a firearm, which includes a background check on all purchases, are associated with a 60% lower odds of a mass public shooting occurring. Weird. Bans on large capacity magazines are associated with 38% fewer fatalities and 77% fewer non-fatal injuries when a mass shooting did occur. Those laws, turns out, they do have an impact. Because we see what works in other places. If only we could do some of what they do elsewhere, here we could stop, not all of them, but a majority of mass shootings. But see, Marjorie Greene, well, no, she has a different idea on what we should actually do. Here's that.
So what we need to do is we need to come together as a nation. We need to return to God. We need to return to our foundational principles that we know protect kids. That is protecting kids the same way Nancy Pelosi protects herself in the Capitol. That's protecting kids the same way our president is protected. That is protecting kids and doing everything we can with good guys with guns who are willing to act and won't stand by like cowards.
Oh, well, okay, well, that's it. Obviously, gonna bring it back to God. You know, because God's doing such a great job right now. Oh, and more security guards, you know, like Nancy Pelosi and all these other public figures. Right. Okay. Now, again, one is a nonsense talking point. And the other, it's already been done, and it doesn't work. Armed guards failed to stop a shooter in Parkland. Failed to stop a shooter in Uvalde. Failed to stop a shooter in Buffalo. Those are the most recent examples. And you know why? Because oftentimes the shooter is a former student. They already know about the security measures. They know about the guards. In the case of Buffalo, he already knew where that security guard was and already figured out he's going to be a problem. I'm going to neutralize him first. You know what really helps? When you have that element of surprise. In Uvalde, by the way, there was armed security, and guess what? They were busy chasing after a teacher when this guy went through an unlocked back door. Now, of course, the solution to that, if you ask Republicans, is, well, just remove all the doors. Only have one door. You're going to create a fire hazard, for one, and then you're going to create a tunnel situation. I mean, again, it's ridiculous, right? No, the best way to prevent a shooter is to stop them from getting a gun in the first place. Everything else is very, very reactionary, and it costs lives. Reactionary, you know, like, I don't know, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And also, costs lives. Now, one more video here. It's probably the worst of it. Because here she is, trying to pretend that she actually gives a damn about the victims.
I think our children are our most important, precious resource that we have. Our children are our future. And so we should do everything we can to keep them safe at school and never, ever allow anything to happen to them or any parent to have to fear what may happen to my child when I drop them off at school in the morning or put them on the school bus. You know, we're praying for these families in Uvalde, but we also need to recognize that people are shot and killed all over the country in Democrat-controlled cities like Chicago, Atlanta, New York, you know, Detroit, and all over the place. There is a problem in our country, and it's called murder, and it's called crime. We need prosecutors that will prosecute people and put them away in jail, not let people off like they do so many times, and like they did when it comes to Democrat violence in the streets.
Ah, yes, we have a problem in this country. It's called murder and crime. Now, look, I'll give her one little point. One little crumb, right? So now she's actually points out that, yes, there are some places like in California that have let violent offenders go. I don't agree with that. I think if you've done violence, especially with a weapon, then you should be in jail. I think everybody should agree to that. That said, right, the rest of it, hogwash. It makes me sick to watch this person claim how she cares so much about children and then actually refuses to do anything about the number one cause of death for children in this country. By the way, also, this is the same person who just hired Milo Yiannopoulos, who defended pedophilia. Just saying. Oh, but you don't understand, he's an ex-gay. Yeah. Yeah, there's no such thing as an ex-gay. You can shove yourself as far in the closet as you want for a paycheck. That gay don't go away. And he knows it. He knows it. They all know it. All right, but anyway, again, gun violence, getting back to that, it kills more kids in car accidents in this country. It's the number one cause of death for young people. And then, of course, ignoring all of that, she goes and pivots over to the normal Republican talking point of, oh, you know, there's a lot of shootings in Detroit and Chicago. Yes, it turns out, yeah, there are a lot of people that are in those cities that are killed by gun violence. Which is why we're saying, why don't we do something? We should do something about the gun violence. That would be great. Wonderful. Oh, but then they say, oh, you see, but they already have gun control laws. So, you know, those didn't work. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to say that, well, gun laws don't work because, yes, we've got gun laws in this particular city or in this particular state, but you could travel 15 minutes outside of the state and get as many guns as you want. Wait, hold on here. No, it turns out you need something more at the federal level. If you can drive across the border 15 minutes, and we're not talking about, you know, the border to Mexico, right? Which, by the way, a lot of the guns being used by the drug cartels actually come from the United States, are being bought in the United States through straw purchases and being brought back over the border. So, you know, we're actually feeding into that crisis in Mexico by our guns. Again, the United States is the biggest weapons manufacturer basically in the world. A lot of the guns in the world come from us. So, yeah, we're basically the gun capital of the world. But here's the thing, right? Yes, the majority of people in those cities, specifically New York, LA, Chicago, etc., right? Detroit. Well, a lot of them are black people that are being shot and killed. And there is gang violence, and that is a problem, right? Now, here's the thing. When it comes to Republicans, they don't want to do anything about it. They don't want to do anything on the federal level to make it harder for people in those states to go, you know, I should say, to try to stop people in those states from going and getting guns in places where it's less regulated and then bringing them back to those cities to do violence. They don't want to do any sort of federal prohibitions because it might affect them just a little bit. And the other thing, of course, is that they see black people dying and think, I don't care. They're just black people. I don't want to do anything to solve that. Look, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a despicable person. I don't think she cares about the victims at all. So I think that she can take her thoughts and prayers and her, you know, fake concerns and just shove them. And shove them somewhere else. Because what we are is we're sick of people like her allowing their children to be killed in their own classrooms because of how much they love their guns. And, of course, for the politicians, money for gun manufacturers.